Hi everyone, welcome back to Novel Nomad and welcome to my video where I'm going to discuss the books that I want to finish at least before 2019 rolls in. It is coming up so soon. So I thought this was an absolutely excellent way to discuss some of the books that I desperately want to get off my TBR and onto my red shelves. Now recently I've done my two TBRs, one for November and the other is my Cloak and Dagger Christmas announcement and TBR video, both of which I'll link down below and link up here for handy access. Part of my November TBR, I wanted to read a blend of fiction and non-fiction in order to commemorate the 100 years since the end of the First World War. And so the two books that I still have left on that TBR that I haven't got to and I really want to finish hopefully by November before I start the Cloak and Dagger readathon is Strange Meeting by Susanna Hill and The Absolutist by John Boyne. These two are really interesting. This is set during the war and this is just after, but of course there's going to be lots of memory and going back to wartime experiences, and I just really want to finish these. But if you want to see the full TBR, click the link above to see my full listing of what I wanted to read during the month of November. Another book that I desperately want to finish before the new year and before its publication date is Bound for Temptation by Tesla Sue. Now I know the author Tesla Sue and she is absolutely beautiful. I reviewed the first book in this series called Bound for Eden and also I have read Bound for Sin. This one though is the third and final book I believe in the Frontiers of the Heart series, and this is the third Slater brother, and what makes this quite interesting is he's more comfortable with horses than he is with people, so he has to suddenly become involved with an ex-brothel owner who called herself Celine and now goes by her true name of Emma, as she tries to escape that life, but of course she manages to escape that life by dressing up as a nun. So it sounds absolutely hilarious. I was lucky enough to read a little bit of a sneaky peek in the other book and it just sounds fantastic. It's going to be published in January in 2019, hence why I want to get it done before then so I can write a wonderful review and also do a review video so I can share my love for this series. Next on my list is going to be The Obelisk Gate by N.K. Jemisin. Now I read the first one in this series, which is the 5th season, and that was absolutely mind-blowingly awesome. I loved that fantasy series. It just really took me to a place where I was once again ridiculously passionate about a fantasy book. Now in the first book you follow the stories of 3 women, one young girl, one younger woman and an older woman, as they start to experience what is happening in the world leading up to what is known as the 5th season. Now the 5th season happens quite regularly and it can last for years, so it's when something within the environment completely breaks down and causes endless winter and the society itself starts to break down. Now there are rules for what happens between seasons and what to prepare for a 5th season, but unfortunately the 5th season that is going to be experienced in this series is the season to end all seasons, or to end the world. So it sounds brilliant and I just want to get on to the second one really soon. The next two is actually because I'm going to Hong Kong in December. I will be reading The Borrowed by Chan Ho Kei, a part of my Cloak and Dagger readathon, but I do have 2 other books that I've put aside just in case I can fit them in to read, because they are written by not only people who grew up in Hong Kong and is a non-fiction, but also by a Hong Kong author, and she wrote stories in the 1920s. So the first one is going to be Guelo by Martin Booth. Martin Booth actually grew up in Hong Kong. He is a British citizen and his parents were in the colony of Hong Kong when it was still under British rule, but his is a memoir of Hong Kong and it is very well known. So I thought this would be such a fascinating way to look at Hong Kong's past through the eyes of a young boy as he was growing up, and how he felt very much at home in this very far-flung outpost of the British Empire. And the other is Love in a Fallen City by Eileen Chang. So Eileen Chang was actually a writer in the early 20th century and she wrote very much of her experiences in Hong Kong and Shanghai, but these stories themselves base themselves around in Hong Kong, also Shanghai, but mainly in Hong Kong, and there's a bit of love, romance and a bit of the elegance of 1920s and 30s. Next we have 2 books that I was very grateful to receive from a friend and also the publisher Text Publishing, and that is Helen Garner's two books. The first one being Monkey Grip, which she published quite a while ago now. I can't even remember when it was first published, but I first experienced this at university. We got to read about this incredibly bohemian Melbourne group as they go through and live their lives in, I believe, the 1980s Melbourne, and all their experiences along the way. But it is a really great look into inner city Melbourne, inner city Australia, and also this kind of bohemian lifestyle and the challenges and pitfalls and blossoming friendships that occur within that environment. And Helen Garner actually wrote non-fiction that I read earlier in the year called This House of Grief, and her unique clarity of writing in non-fiction translates so well into her style in fiction work as well. There's this kind of raw brutality yet beauty to her writing. This one was also accompanied by her book The Children's Bark, which I have never read before. I didn't even know this one existed. I've only seen really Monkey Grip, Spare Room, and then her non-fictions, which I still want to read another one of her non-fictions. So this would be really great to get into more Helen Garner. She is an Australian writer, and I'm sure these editions should be available worldwide, but they are absolutely beautiful. Very simple design for someone who can write so simply but with such beauty. Next is going to be my constant read over November and into December is Elizabeth George, Missing Joseph. This is the next in the Inspector Lynley series. I'm buddy reading this with Kate Howe, and we're doing a very loose buddy read. Basically, we're reading them as we go, very relaxed, low-key, and it's just we discuss them as we come to them. This is number 6, and I can't wait to see where this goes. The books are slowly getting chunkier and chunkier, so they're slowly taking me longer and longer, especially with all the other books that I'm reading at the time. But I think this will be a very nice, well-rounded selection to get me through into the 31st of December 2018. So let me know what you plan on reading for the rest of the year. Let me know if you've done any Cloak and Dagger TBRs. I can't wait to see them all. It's going to be so much fun reading and enjoying mystery books with everyone. Or what books you plan to read leading into 2019. Do you have a particular goal to be achieved, or is there something that you really want to finish off before 2019 comes around for a fresh start? So thank you all for joining me. I'll see you next time. Bye!